Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. Today, we're talking revenge. Ooh, I kind of added into the we're talking. Let me try that again. We're talking revenge. Oh my gosh. Are we ever? I am so excited for this episode. Let me just tell you a little behind the scenes magic. Normally, I listen to a couple chapters and try to break them down for you. No. I'm only listened to about 20 minutes, and I just had to jump on mic and talk about how insane things have gotten with Hank and Skank, especially Skank. Let me tell you what's going on. Okay, first of all, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I am thrilled to be diving into this part. Definitely check out my Patreon, patreon.com/Real Housewives Recaps, where I do deep dives of Sex and the City and all kinds of fun stuff. But also we put up bonus Harry and Meghan stuff, Harold and Fraud. So check those out. Lots of fun stuff over there. And also there's executive producers, which I'll be thanking at the end of this video. So, okay, revenge. Let me just dive in. I'm so excited. I'm caffeinated. I'm thrilled. I just can't wait to talk about this. So I started it up and I started taking my little notes and my jaw just dropped. I've read this book before, but it's been a long time and I've read about 1 million books since. So I did not remember all these details of this part of the book. We're going to get into the birth of Archie. Now, I always get 1 million comments. Yes, I'm very fully aware of the moon bump and the different stories going on around this birth. I'm just going to cover this book and what Tom Bower is alleging and what's being told here. Think what you will on that stuff. I have my own opinions. We'll talk about that maybe in another video. This isn't the place for it. I just want to talk about the events surrounding the birth of Archie because this shit is nuts. So chapter 29 is called Pitching. So Meghan and Harry were looking for retaliation. This is the first sentence that I picked up on right here at the beginning of Pitching. Meghan and Harry were looking for retaliation to the royal family, the media, and the British public. What the fuck? Seriously, these two are so full of themselves at this point and so spoiled and just totally unaware in their own little bubble. They think they need to have retaliation against what now? The royal family. Why? Because they gave them everything. The media. Why? Because they're there when they want to advertise themselves. And the British public. Why? Because they've been nothing but wonderful. What the hell is your problem, Harold and Fraud? What the hell? Hank and Skank, get your together. Okay, so Oprah and Gayle. We found out in the last episode, we went through it about basically Meghan and Harry had already signed on to do this interview with Oprah. This is, of course, they're still in England at this point. They are planning their exodus, right? Their Megxit, if you will. So they have already been in talks with Oprah. We know this. We talked about this last time. So that's already been set. So they're there hanging out and thinking of how wonderful and perfect they are and how horrible everybody else is. They make this deal, right, that Oprah and Gayle would produce a glowing CBS documentary about Meghan and Harry and the baby to try to build up their profile in America. So that way, when they do the interview with Oprah, there'd be much more public interest in it. Also, they decided that the best time to release such documentary would be after the baby was born. And in exchange, no other media would have access to Meghan or her child. So just think about that. They sold their souls to Oprah and Gayle. And they, although Meghan is the devil, so I'm not sure how that works, but so they made this agreement. Nobody else would have pictures. Does that make sense as to why the weird photo stuff with them and why they didn't do the photo call the royals typically do? Harry agreed that Buckingham would be given no choice. They would be given no choice as to any access to the baby, and with media and all, that CBS instead would be given exclusive of the baby and the situation. They also wanted the exclusive of the Queen meeting Archie. Nice, huh? Real nice. Really nice people that are doing this to the royal family and the Queen, who have given them everything. They are spoiled bastards. If I didn't hate them before, well, here we are. Because this is just awful. If they couldn't stand the royal family so much, why didn't they break free sooner? I'm saying break free like they would say it, but you know what I mean? Like, why didn't they leave sooner? Nope. They knew what they were doing. They knew that having this baby would get them all kinds of attention and press, and this could be their chance to turn their backs on the royal family, make it into a whole thing, and then sell their souls to CBS. So, yeah, Harry agreed to this because Harry has no nuts and no brain cells, and he's eating crayons, and he's not paying attention to what's going on. He let the devil herself make these deals, and with herself, I guess, and he's just going along with it. But I'm not giving him a pass. He sucks too. I hate that guy. Now, get this. Okay, mid-April, they decide to make an announcement that all plans around the baby will be kept private. Fine, whatever, their choice, fine. They were going to release the hospital where the baby was born or the godparents. They wanted to keep that all private. Well, on cue, Miss Oprah started to sing the praises of Harry and Meghan and their decision. Their decision to protect the baby. I'm using Joey's air quotes. I'm looking at you, KT, with Joey's air quotes. But seriously, they decided that Oprah should make these announcements, right? And sing the praises of them and their decision. So that way, do you see? It's like a mutual ass kissing. It's how Hollywood works, right? We'll kiss your ass, you kiss our ass. Great. Okay, we'll all get rich together. Meanwhile, let's turn our backs on the royal family. So Tom Bower goes into why there's a royal protocol to this, and that the announcements of royal births are essential for the newborn and legitimacy purposes. It's all to do with, heirs, and you get it. Hank and Skank are playing it up as we want privacy. Oprah's like, yeah, they're brave. They want privacy. But no. That's not what it is. They needed total control over their narrative. They knew what they were doing. They purposely didn't want their baby photographed. So that way CBS could have exclusive rights. Never mind that, again, there's just a royal protocol, and it's kind of... Think about Catherine, how when she has her baby, she goes out to the steps. Now, I have my own thoughts on that. Not Catherine. I love her. She can do no wrong. But I'm saying, to me, as an American, I think it's a bit extreme to go out 2 hours after having a baby and show, whatever. But I understand why. I understand what they're saying. I understand the legitimacy thing. I understand that it's part of being a royal and paying back the public who loves you and who is part of this whole thing. I get it. They don't get it, Harold and Fraud, but I get it. It makes sense. Again, the 2 hours after giving birth is a bit much, if you ask me. I do not know how Catherine can look so gorgeous right after having a baby. My God. Okay, so they were playing it up as privacy. But again, it was total control for them. They needed to control this narrative, aka make the big bucks and sell their souls to CBS. So May 5th, Meghan went to Portland Hospital. It's a private hospital in London. Went in that night, and the next morning, it was May the 6th at like 5 a.m. or 5:20 a.m., baby Archie was born. Now, P.S., if you have not listened to it, go back and listen to my episode of Spare where I specifically go into the birth. It is the most nonsensical bullshit story you've ever heard in your life. You talk about crazy story. That is one of the craziest from Spare. It doesn't get enough talked about. But go watch the whole video, but I'll sum it up for you. Harry claimed that he did a whole tank of laughing gas, and Meghan was like bouncing around on the exercise ball after having an epidural. None of it makes any sense. Go back and watch it. It's incredible. I've actually rewatched the video myself. It blows my mind. It blows my mind. I don't know why, but it does. Oh, immediately after the baby was born, the deception starts. Well, that's what Tom Bower says. I say these two have been deceptive since they got together and even before that. So deception started immediately, and 8 hours later, Buckingham announced that Meghan was in labor. So think about this. So little baby Archie was born 5 a.m. 8 hours after that, Buckingham announces that she was in labor. Now, he didn't say this part, and I'm just wondering, do you think Harold and Fraud were feeding Buckingham the wrong information on purpose? That would fit their agenda, right? If Buckingham wasn't fully aware and they were being super ambiguous, no wonder they announced it, hours later. 20 minutes, this is where I get real pissy. 20 minutes after Buckingham announced that Meghan was in labor, those two, Harold and Fraud, jump on their Sussex Instagram. They announce the birth. they announced the birth of Archie on their Instagram. They announced the birth. So it's like, we don't care about family. You guys don't matter to us at all. We're just going to do our own thing over here, even though you guys are still supporting us. And Tom Bauer makes a point of saying, not only were they still being supported and free housing and all these millions of dollars of renovation, still obviously had security and all this. The reason I'm bringing this up is because this comes up in a little bit more lies. But yeah, all fully supported. And yet they can't even get the story straight with the palace. Because they needed to make the announcement on their own Instagram. That's where their priorities are the day their baby was born. Buckingham realized that they had been fooled. And Meghan, again, Tom talks about that Meghan was in total control. Obviously, this is deliberate. And Harry couldn't resist, but he had to go appear for media. He loves that shit. He can claim he hates the media all he wants. Clearly, he loves it because here we are. So he goes to talk about how excited he was and that Archie was there. Again, this is where things get nuts. I had forgotten about this until Tom clearly lays it out. Do you remember that they announced they wanted Archie to have privacy? They do not want him to have titles. Do you remember that? Because I had blocked that part. There's so much bullshit that rose out of these two. I blocked it out. Yeah, they said they wanted little baby Archie not to have titles. Turns out that when Harry and Meghan got married, he became Earl and she became Countess of Dumbarton. Dumbarton? I hope I'm saying that right. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. Lord Dumbarton. Okay, that would be Archie's title. Well, you can imagine Meghan threw a fit and said, heck no, no son of mine will be called Dumb. Totally missing the point that that is the name of the area and that they are Earl and Countess of Dumbarton. And that, yeah. So he did get a title. They're so full of, you know what. 2 days after the birth, Gail King, Oprah's BFF, was in Windsor for baby's first public appearance. So BBC and ITV cams were excluded, but CBS, come on in. Totally fine. It's, again, hey, you know, British people that have been supporting us and, you know, that we've been depending on and that we're so mad at because we think you don't like us, we're going to do something real mean. They're just so full of themselves, of course. Of course, they'd push out the British press, right? And welcome in the CBS, you know, Gail and Oprah, come on in, because they knew that they were headed for this interview with Oprah and they wanted themselves to be boosted up. So Meg timed the photo call, you know, the first photo with the baby, with CBS morning show in New York. I just threw my papers down. Think about that. Everything had to be planned around this photo call. And she planned it around the CBS morning show in New York. All right. The photo showed them together. They had everybody there. There was a photo of the Queen and Dorian and you know, them there, and they're all staring at a little Shaw. None were allowed to record Archie's face. Tom didn't say this, so I'm asking you guys, my courtiers, is it so they could drive a more expensive price so CBS could have the exclusive? Is that what it is? That's what I'm thinking. Gail, after this meeting, was able to negotiate a better contract with CBS and doubled her fee to $11 million that year. That's her annual contract at that point. And it's all because of this. They're kissing each other's asses and scratching each other's backs and everything else. Any other analogy you want to make there, that's what they're doing. Once again, George Clooney, nobody asked for, jumps in and tries to defend Meghan because she's being horrible and banning people like BBC and ITV and, you know, basically giving a big middle finger to the royal family and the British public. But George Clooney, for some reason, feels like he's their spokesman, standing up for them for whatever reason. So here's the other part that I want to call attention to, okay? This is directly contradicting herself on the Oprah interview that she ends up giving 2 years later, right? First claims that they weren't asked to take a picture and that it was really damaging. So see that? She's spinning it like the royal family didn't want us to take a picture of our baby. No, that's not what happened. They did want a picture. She and Harry decided that CBS was more important than their own family. They have great priorities, and that continues to show through, right? But then she admitted to Oprah that she had banned photos, right? So again, contradicting herself. They banned photos because, again, sounds like they wanted the first photos to go to CBS to make that big, big bucks. They claimed that Palace didn't offer Archie a title. We all remember them saying that, right? They wouldn't give our baby a title. Bullshit. He had a title. You just didn't like the one he was given. Also, this was very odd. She claimed that they didn't have security. Well, Tom Bauer, again, I'm a petty bitch. He seems to be one too. He says, well, she may not remember, but they had security. Basically, he said she ought to have known that wasn't true, meaning she's lying. She's lying. She's lying. We all know it. It's just another lie. What else is new, right? She forgot her own announcement that Archie would be a private citizen without a title. Remember that? I talked about that a little bit ago. She said, no, we don't want him to have a title. But then when Oprah interviewed them a couple years later, they wouldn't give Archie a title. I mean, it's just never ending. Nothing is true with these two. It's all a spin, and they're terrible people. And it's like, I know this, but it shocks me. This part especially just really hit me of how vile these two are. She would tell Oprah that her child was not protected and did not have a title. It doesn't make sense. He was protected. He did have a title. They were trying to look out for him even more, but Dumb and Dumber, Hank and Skank would not clue in the royal family, the press office, all that, what was going on. The palace, I meant. They wouldn't clue them in as to what was going on. They just expected them to follow along, but then use them, of course, to make themselves the victims. I just had to get on mic and put this out here because it just blows me away, and I'm very passionate about this because this is exactly why I'm working on this series. It's stuff like this. They directly contradict themselves. They tell these huge lies, and then they act like we're all crazy because we call them out on and say, that's not what you said 5 minutes ago. So let's take a deep breath. Okay. I just had to get that on mic, and I will pick up with more of revenge, but I'm just blown away. And I don't even know why I'm surprised by this, but I am. I'm blown away. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I'm shaking my head. I know you are too. I'm sending you all big hugs. I love you all so much. I truly do. I want to thank my executive producers. You guys are the greatest. If you are interested in becoming an executive producer, check out my Patreon. And you get access to all my videos, and your name gets put up on the screen, and we just have a lot of fun over there. A lot of fun in the comments, a lot of fun watching the videos. It's a blast. I want to thank my special Patreon members, Kristen, Linda, Melissa, Paige, Teresa, Mary, and Amy. And if there's anybody else that's joined recently, I'm sorry, I will get your name in here. Thank you guys so much for supporting. Everybody else, thank you for everything. I really, really appreciate you all. You're the best. Definitely check out the merch. I love it so much. Recollections may vary. I think it's very much applies to this episode. Obviously, recollections may vary. The bitch lies. I should put that on a mug. That bitch lies. But seriously, make it make sense. That's my go-to expression right now because it just fits. None of this makes any sense. But guys, thank you for everything. I really appreciate you. Hey, if you're new here, make sure you're subscribed. I'm sure you're aware, but in case you don't, I am going to the coronation and I will be covering all of this, getting live reactions. I'm so excited about that. Thank you for watching. Stick with me. Lots more to come. Take care. Bye-bye.